Good morning, everyone. We're here in San Juan Capistrano railroad tracks, and we're going to ride the train all the way to Simi Valley, California, to the Reagan Library. So join us in this wonderful adventure. Say bye to Reagan's Library. Let's close. We're now aboard the Pacific Surfliner business class all the way to the Reagan Library, and it's going to take us about 4 hours. These are the quotes from Ronald Reagan. There is no limit to the amount of good you can do if you don't care who gets the credit. Government is not a solution to our problem. Government is the problem. Government does not solve problems, it subsidizes them. Government's view of the economy could be summed up in a few short phrases. If it moves, tax it. If it keeps moving, regulate it. If it stops moving, subsidize it. The problem is not that people are taxed too little. The problem is that government spends too much. That's a quote from our dear President Ronald Reagan. He also said, freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on for them to do the same. If we ever forget that we are one nation under God, then we will be a nation gone under. Amen. Either you will control your government or government will control you. It's hard when you're up to your armpits in alligators to remember you came here to drain the swamp. The 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, quote, I'm from the government and I'm here to help, unquote, from Ronald Reagan. It's not that liberals aren't smart. It's just that so much of what they know isn't so. Ronald Reagan. A nation that cannot control its borders is not a nation. We must reject the idea that every time a law is broken, society is guilty rather than the lawbreaker. It is time to restore the American precept that each individual is accountable for his actions. The greatest leader is not necessarily the one who does the greatest things. He is the one that gets the people to do the greatest things. If we lose freedom here, there is no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth. Now, back in 1927, an American socialist, Norman Thomas, 6 times candidate for president on the Socialist Party ticket, said the American people would never vote for socialism. But he said under the name of liberalism, the American people will adopt every fragment of the socialist program. Freedom is a fragile thing and is never more than one generation away from extinction. It is not ours by inheritance. It must be fought for and defended constantly by each generation, for it comes only once to a people. Those who have known freedom and then lost it have never known it again. I've noticed that everyone who is for abortion has already been born. Ronald Reagan. The National Democratic leadership is going so far left, they've left America. Don't let them bury the American dream in their graveyard of gloom and envy. Ronald Reagan. But the simple truth is that we've lost control of our own borders, and no nation can do that and survive. Government's first duty is to protect the people, not run their lives. When a business or an individual spends more than it makes, it goes bankrupt. When government does it, it sends you the bill. And when government does it for 40 years, the bill comes in two ways: higher taxes and inflation. Make no mistake about it, inflation is a tax and not by accident. Ronald Reagan. How do you tell a communist? Well, it's someone who reads Marx and Lenin. And how do you tell an anti-communist? It's someone who understands Marx and Lenin. Ronald Reagan. I believe now, as I always have, that America's strength is in, quote, we the people, unquote. Because you won't get run control by disarming law-abiding citizens. There's only one way to get real gun control: disarm the thugs and the criminals, lock them up, and if you don't actually throw away the key, at least lose it for a long time. The most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. Ronald Reagan. We have not inherited an easy world. If developments like the Industrial Revolution, which began here in England, and the gifts of science and technology have made life much easier for us, they have also made it more dangerous. Live simply, love generously, care deeply, speak kindly, leave the rest to God. Ronald Reagan.